Hi there. Welcome back to Sami Speaks. I am your co-host, Jeff Borschowa, and as always, we have our host, Sami Steigmann, with us. Sami, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm very good. Okay, yesterday I having difficulty walking. Okay, going kind of incline stairs. It,
Yeah.
it started in 2017, but now it's progressing a little bit too fast. So yesterday there was a rally which I participate in with a long walk around the reservoir on Central Park. So yesterday, painfully, I walked about close to 4 miles.
Well done. I know a
So,
lot of
but it
people.
wasn't throughout the day. It was not in one,
Yeah.
not in one shot. It was not a marathon.
So, what was the purpose of the rally? Who were the organizers? What was your big takeaway from it?
Well, it's every Sunday. They have in different places, so we meet to bring the hostages back home. Okay. But also, then what we do is in Central Park, there is a reservoir, okay, Kennedy's reservoir, Jackie Kennedy, and basically we walk around the reservoir. But it's a very long walk, and fortunately, somebody was with me. By myself, I probably would have not made it. But somebody was with me, so slowly I made it.
I love it. And how many people would you say roughly, was it a big crowd, small crowd, medium crowd?
I would say about 50,
Okay.
maybe more, but around 50.
Okay. So there's still people that are showing interest and showing up. I think that's fabulous.
Well, this is going on for 2 years,
Yeah.
every Sunday.
And I think you and I have already discussed that from Hamas's point of view, they need to hold on to these hostages. They're probably not in any rush to let them go. Is that fair?
No, they will not let them go. They will not let them go because they know that's the end for them. So okay, so right now Israel has to do what they have to do. So I don't. It's has a lot to do with internal politics, So we'll see. I don't know, but
Okay.
I understand the parents. But there is also there are other issues that have to be dealt with. But that's it's I don't like the way the war is handled in Gaza. They should have done it much faster, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Now, what's in New York in particular? What's the mood in terms of politics? Are the politicians paying attention, or are they distracted by other things?
Regarding what? Because we have
Regarding
different
the hostages and your
not really. It's not emphasized a lot enough. But we have another problem here in Minnesota. So we have an Arab, a Muslim socialist. So the right side is not united. They have three candidates. So the votes will be split, and it looks like Mamdani, okay, will be a shoe-in, and God help us.
yeah, it's I think
I don't know
it,
if you have it in Canada, but here it's also also have it in Minnesota. Okay, so it's a problem from within.
and I think it's interesting when the candidates, you said there's three on the right, they don't agree and come together. And historically, either they'll go right to the bitter end or they'll come together, but too late. I think that's a very real possibility, is splitting the vote, and
Right.
a
Right.
very unexpected candidate becomes
Well, it's not that unexpected because New York, L.A., Chicago. It's not liberal. It's ultra liberal.
Yeah.
Okay. I am very liberal on social issues, but I'm very conservative on financial issues, and because of my background and everything else. So,
Yeah.
okay, but this is going too far. Okay, to the left.
And I think that's unintended consequences. I don't think most people would willingly go extreme left or right in most cases. So
Uh, okay, but right now, he's a socialist, communist. Everything is for free. Buses, everything. I mean, that's non-sustainable because if you remember, 1991. Okay, all the socialist countries, okay, disappeared. It's not
yeah,
sustainable to give for years, okay, something for free. Okay.
and I think that's something. I mean, if we look at history has shown that long breadlines, massive unemployment or underemployment, massive inflation. Um, we, especially North American society, we're not built for communism, socialism. It just doesn't work with our people. Is that fair?
Well, he wants to defund the police. He wants to get rid of misdemeanor, assaults and whatever it is. I mean, it sounds in this day and age, it sounds very strange,
Yeah,
unacceptable. The problem is that the blacks did not vote for him in the primary. The Latinos did not vote for him. Mostly the whites and young people. And young people are indoctrinated and they like everything free.
yeah. There's a it's one of those. There's an appeal to free, but nobody thinks about the actual cost of that free, do they?
That is correct. And that's why, as you know, okay, all the socialist countries, they disappeared in 1991.
Yeah,
They
and
still have corrupt governments, but that's a different issue. But they are not anymore socialist. Everything for free,
yeah,
so they are going into the uh, you know uh, free market.
yeah. And I think it's interesting because throughout their communist history, Russia has more or less proven definitively to the world that communism in their version of it is a recipe for shortages and scarcity and starvation and cold. People are lining up for wood and for bread. So
No, that's why I'm saying people, okay, do not learn from history, and if you don't learn from history, history will repeat itself.
yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the underlying themes of our show here is that we need to learn lessons. And I think, you know, I can't imagine, and I'm just going to say this, I don't imagine what it would be like to have New Yorkers lining up for bread. I don't think that would go well with anybody, let alone, the promise of free
Uh,
bread is still empty if there's no bread to be had.
well, okay, what he wants to do, he wants the stores, okay, to be run, okay, by the city, the buses for free, a lot of things that he suggested are not sustainable. So, well, we'll have to deal with it for 4 years and
Yeah.
then, okay, vote them out. But, okay, but it's a problem.
It'll be a very interesting 4 years, and anybody watching this who's met me once will know I am a diehard capitalist. It's not the perfect system, but it is by far the best. And I can't even fathom what it would look like. At one point there was a big backlash. Everybody wanted to take all the money away from the billionaires. And one of the billionaires, I can't remember who, said it very well. They said, if you take away all of our wealth, we'll reaccumulate it, but we will stop creating wealth in your country. Is that really what you want?
There are many examples. That's exactly what happened. It's the other interesting thing is that I spoke against Mandani, so I'm not afraid to talk. But basically, I said one thing: you are suggesting for something that you don't know anything about. I lived under a socialist country, so
Yeah.
I know, I think, something a little bit about it. So, but people don't know. They like empty promises, and okay, things will change.
Yeah.
It will be better, but for a while it will get worse, and people eventually will wake up.
Well, and I think that's you and I both have that optimism that people will wake up and see reality. But if you're socializing a city, I can't even fathom how that works within, first of all, the state of New York, but then looking at
Forget
New
about
York.
the state, just New York itself.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, how would that look inside the state of New York that you're going to have a socialist city? It's almost.
Well, in the state, but it's not in the state of New York. Mandani will be only the mayor of the city of New York.
Yeah, but you're going to have a little dot of socialism within the greater state of New York.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's and then looking at the United States, I can't help but think that the people in Washington would take exception to this, but maybe we'll find out if Mandani is any.
They have not done yet. They have not taken exceptions. They have not spoken out against him. Okay, whatever it is. So the only thing that the Democratic Party did is they did not endorse the guy from Minnesota, but they did not. They still did not go against Mandani. So Mandani looks like will be a shoe-in.
Yeah.
Will be interesting.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the right side of the election, if they get together, and presumably each of them has a strategist, and each of them is being told, here's the probability of us winning, here's the probability of others winning. Somebody surely can do the math and say, here's what happens with a swing vote or a split vote.
Well, nothing would happen unless they can coalesce with one candidate.
Yeah.
As long as they have three candidates, okay, the votes will be split, and there's no way they can win.
We'll very quickly find out and this is just a practical thing, but we'll find out if the three candidates on the right put their careers first or the city of New York first. So it'll be interesting.
Well, I'm glad that you're very optimistic.
I don't like the odds, but the optimist in me hopes that I still cling to the belief that people who go into politics do care at some level. I may be completely naive, but I'd like to hope that is the case. In Canada here, anytime I've seen the vote split, we have a three-party system, or well, at least three parties. We allow other parties. It's usually left and right fighting, and then extreme left or extreme right sneaks in. So it'll be interesting to see how three candidates on the same side of the spectrum, if they collaborate, or at some point, if there's a surety that one of the three could win, the gambler in me says, let's back the one most likely to win and hope for good, negotiate good, what's the word, appointments after the fact.
Well, you don't have very good candidates.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
hopefully,
I mean, each one of them has both of them, Cuomo and Adams, they have a baggage. Okay. Curtis, okay, he's the one that does not have a baggage, but he's not that popular. Yeah. So most of the people will not vote for him, most of them,
yeah.
although he has a group of people that are very devoted to him. Uh, Como will not have a chance to win, and Adams maybe, but the other two will have to okay, okay, I mean go out from the race. Okay,
Okay.
so far none of them want to go out.
Okay. And how much longer before the election? It's going to be in November?
Yes,
Okay. So we're just getting started in the showmanship of it all, then, I'm guessing.
yes.
Okay. Well, let's talk about. So I have a couple of thoughts, but one, I want to talk about life under a socialist government, because if that does become the reality, what are some of the things that New Yorkers can expect to see? Because I am a firm believer, if we understand history, we should really want to avoid some of the mistakes.
Well, I don't think that he will be able to accomplish, even if he becomes mayor, some of the things that he wants. Okay, because the country is not ready yet for it.
Yeah.
But to give an example, for instance, uh, in a socialist country, you do not have your own farms. It's a collective. Okay, uh, so it's everything is run by the government. The schools are free. There is no question about it. Universities are free, but it comes at a cost. For instance, food either was expensive or was very scarce.
Yeah.
So people had to become very creative. Like my mother, for instance, many times could not find or too expensive to buy butter, so or cheese. So she used to take bottles of milk, let them ferment for a period of time, and then eventually to a process that my mother knew about it. I did not know. I was too young, but it turned out into butter and cheese. So people had to become very creative. So, but the young people loved it. Everything was free.
So
Okay.
again, we're repeating mistakes without really thinking about them, right?
Well, if you don't learn from history, obviously you're going to repeat the same things.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, how are you going to sustain free buses?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for it? Somebody has to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For schools, how are you going to do that? Okay. So, okay. Eventually, he will become a little bit more pragmatic.
Yeah.
But the way he talks, okay, especially the young people like it, and they are voting for him. And you have a lot of young people now.
Well, and it's interesting. I think I'd read somewhere there is a speaker in the US, I can't remember his name, but he basically said the fundamental challenge that the Democrats have right now is that the party is more or less being run by the youth. And whether the youth know it or not, they're being directed by terrorist groups. There's a lot of influence.
Well, you have people that have extreme views,
Yeah.
and people like Cortez and some other people. They right now, okay, are running the party in many ways. So you have the old timers, and they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be interesting because the youth, they're young, they're idealistic. And again, I think this is historical as well. If we're not guiding the youth and they're the ones guiding us, we're going to get some fairly extreme reactions.
Correct. Correct.
And
So this is part of the problem. Like I say, at age 20, you're idealistic. At age 40, okay, you become a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit.
yeah,
At age 60, give me a break. You've experienced life. Okay. Okay. Learn
you
learn
learned enough to be realistic, right?
Right.
And I mean, that's the thing. Like, I love the idea, Canada tried this. We tried it with our healthcare. We tried it with our education. Free sounds great until you realize that free means we all have the same terrible access to crumbling services because there's nobody left to pay for it.
Right.
And worse, our doctors, nurses, they're leaving. We have a real brain drain because they can go down to the States and make way more money, way less stress, and they don't have to deal with all the politics and paperwork.
Well, okay. I don't know. This was happening in New York. I don't know if something similar happens in Canada.
Yeah.
Does
And
it?
it does. It's we have good healthcare. I'm going to say good. It's not great. It's not terrible. But anybody who's a specialist, whether it's surgeon, cardiac, etc., they can go down to the United States and they can add zeros to the end of their income. They make more with less stress. My family doctor actually commented to me, Sami, that he would make more money stocking shelves at Costco. And he would have benefits so he could afford to go to a doctor. And I was like, wow, that's a disturbing thought to process. Smart guy.
Wait a minute, that's in Canada?
Yeah. Our healthcare system is crumbling and nobody wants to talk about it.
Well, congratulations.
Yes, we're not quite socialist, but we're definitely not full capitalist. And, unfortunately, it's happening in our education system too. The best teachers are burning out, they're retiring. And we're actually in Alberta, where I am, we're looking at a teacher strike because the teachers haven't gotten raises, they're not getting paid enough. And classroom sizes, this is always the problem in Canada, free public education up to grade 12, but the classroom sizes are so big, the teachers are complaining that they can't teach the students properly.
Well,
so there's something to be said. Our system, I guess, is close to, I don't know, it's a blend of socialism and
capitalism.
Yeah, it's a weird hybrid. We kind of, it's like we're always to the left of center, but even when we talk about right and left, we're always still a little over from the rest of the world. But we've proven that this system, it functions, but barely, if that makes sense.
Oh yes, and that's what they will have to find out. That's why the experiment will not last for a very long time. But in the meantime, people will have to suffer to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if New York is ready to accept what Mandani is proposing.
Yeah.
I don't think so. So there will be probably some breaks putting to his proposal. So
Yeah.
Even the Democratic Party asked Mandani, besides having the slogans, they asked them, give specific plans how you want to implement it.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now it's a just talk, but it's still just the fact that he can talk about it and it's accepted. It becomes normal. It's normalizing it. So then
Yeah.
more people will go in the same direction. So it's a process that is not a healthy one.
Yeah.
But okay, it takes time. Okay, to uh, play its hand, and eventually uh, it will get better.
Well, and I also suspect, this being the modern times we live in, there's going to be a lot of litigation over, legality and, does this violate constitutional rights and things like that. So um, I don't envision he's going to have a smooth 4 years, whether he thinks so or not.
No, no, he will not have it. But okay, at the same time, okay, he still has a voice, still has power,
Yeah.
and okay. So even the litigation is costing money. It's not
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. It's, uh, the optimist in me says that the three will come together, but I've been accused of not always being realistic. And, I will say that I don't live in New York, so I can't vote and I can't influence it. But the optimist in me says the people of New York will figure this out.
Well, when it gets bad enough, okay, they'll wake up. Well,
yeah,
there was a story here in New York. There was a governor, and eventually he apologized, but he decided to, uh, overtax the wealthy people. So one of them said, "Okay, very good. You're going to do it. I will go to Texas." Okay, so what happened is that the revenue was less than he had before.
yeah,
And okay, so later on he apologized and he admitted that he made a mistake. But you cannot overtax. You cannot defund the police. You cannot have social workers taking care of the criminals.
yeah,
Uh, I don't know. It sounds, especially for young people that have not did not have life experiences. Okay, it sounds wonderful, but it's not realistic. Uh, but unfortunately, they have the votes,
yeah,
and
yeah.
the right side is not united.
Well, and I think we're about to see, will we learn new lessons, or will we get to repeat the old ones that we didn't learn the first time? So
Well, it's quite possible. Okay, if it's not going to be too late, it's quite possible. Okay, by the end, the ones that don't have the votes, like for instance, right now, Como I think has the least is the least popular. So eventually, Como will probably get out from the race. Then it will be between Curtis and Adams. And Curtis maybe, but I doubted that he will bow out. And I don't think that Adams has a big ego. I don't think that he will bow out.
we're about to see if ego trumps duty in real time, aren't we?
Yes, it will. Not,
Okay.
not.
I hope that duty is still a word that people value, but we'll find out soon enough. All
Okay.
right. Let's talk about, so Sammy's going to have some time on his hands for the next 4 years. He's going to want to be outside of the city of New York while things settle. Where would you like, if we had a magic wand here, my friend, where would you like to go to speak? Do you have a favorite state or somewhere you've always wanted to go that you haven't yet?
Well, I'll speak anywhere in the world. I don't travel anymore for fun.
Yeah.
If you want me to come to give an example to Canada to relax, I wouldn't go, and I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah.
But I will travel anywhere in the world, okay, if uh, uh, the opportunity to speak is provided. So I don't have a favorite one. I will speak to anybody because the Holocaust must be taught forever and ever, unless somebody can convince me otherwise. Holocaust must be taught forever because it's the best example what hate can do not only to a person, but
Yeah.
to a group of people, to a nation,
Yeah.
into the world. The whole world was involved in annihilating one group of people, the Jews. So okay, like for instance, what's happening right now in Israel. To give an example, with the Palestinians,
Yeah.
in the media is complicit in what's happening. So I'm going to ask you, from what you know, how many Palestinians were killed by the Israelis?
That's a interesting question, and I'm going to give it with a caveat that
No, 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 just what you know, just what you
yeah,
heard. Okay,
the number I've heard is somewhere around 40,000.
very good. Okay, very good. That does not that includes the combatants. But
Yeah.
let me ask you a question: how many people were murdered in Sudan?
Again, I think that number I should know, but honestly, I'd be struggling to find Sudan on a map right now. So I
Okay,
know it's a
okay,
large number, just not a publicly talked about number.
okay. 4 million. How many in Congo?
I would say probably 500,000 or more.
Correct. Okay. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
So there is one saying, and I think I mentioned it before. I'm going to say it again: no Jews, no news. And when you're talking about, for instance, Jews, I mean, my culture is different than one from Hungary. My culture is different from one from Poland.
Yeah.
Okay, we are not one. Okay, that you can say all of us are the same. So I don't know which Jews they are talking about. And when they
Yeah.
say a global intifada and everything else, it's against all of the Jews. It's nothing but a specific group. When you're talking about in Sudan, it's a specific group.
Yeah.
It's not worldwide. This is they're talking about to annihilate, okay, worldwide the Jews. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, it just fascinates me. I think last time we talked about, I did an exercise on, what would the world look like without Canadians? What would the world look like without the Jewish people? And I got to say, we would be significantly dumber. Science would not be where it is. Arts, entertainment, fashion. It is amazing. And I think for me personally, the cost of hatred, honestly, is too high. Why, as a society, are we willing to accept this?
Well, you personally know about hate, but I give an example. Take a look at the Jews. The whole world population of Jewish people is 0.02.
Yeah.
It- It's insignificant compared to the world population. So, but the Jew hatred is 4,000 years old. It started originally because of religion,
Yeah.
secondly economics, then it went through different stages. And right now it's Israel, Zionism, and all of this. And people uh, hate without knowing what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And
Eh,
this is the indoctrination.
yeah.
It's repeated often enough. Okay, so the people are accepting it that it's a fact, that it's true.
Yeah. And it's interesting because even if you go back I was raised Roman Catholic. Um, it's very interesting because we are quote unquote Christians, and yet the Catholic Church seems to believe that it was not the Romans that persecuted and crucified Jesus. They blamed the Jewish people for it.
Well, Pope John Paul II,
Yeah.
he admitted that it was not the Jews, but
Yeah.
that was the preaching for many years, for centuries. But
Centuries,
he,
millennia almost.
right, but he was the first pope that admitted that Christ was murdered by the Romans, not by the Jews.
Yeah.
But for a very long time, until Pope John Paul II, and this is not many years ago, that was the belief.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that's, until Pope John Paul came along, that was the kind of dogma that got repeated. And, it's weird, but when I was a child, I looked at it, I said, wait a minute, the players don't add up. I was really annoying as a child to my family priest because I would ask questions and it was like, don't ask, just this is the way it is. I'm like, but we've got the 10 commandments and all this stuff, and we're not supposed to murder and cause hatred and pain. And yet almost institutionalized, the Catholic Church was saying, well, except when it comes to, basically anybody who is perceived as a threat to the church, it's okay if we murder and hate them. And I was like, wait a minute. That seems a little suspicious to me. Even, I think I was about 10 or 11. I think I was about 12. I got in a pretty heated argument with my family priest about it. And I was like, this does not make sense.
Well, at least you questioned, but you still were able to be attracted by the hate groups.
Yeah.
Okay, with all your questioning, but at least you questions. A lot of people do not question; they accept things at face value. And that is a issue. That's why education is probably the most important thing in combating hatred.
Yeah, I love it. And honestly, I think this is something I would encourage people, have conversations with people you normally wouldn't. That's what I love about being as a podcaster. I can talk to pretty much anybody around the world now, and I can learn things about them. Why do you do this in your culture? Why do you do that? What are your beliefs? It's really hard to hate people once you humanize them. And I think that's what hatred does a good job of, is dehumanizing.
Well, what I do when I talk to my audience, I tell them, we hate people because we don't know them. We don't know them because we hate them.
Yeah.
So that's why, we have to treat each person as an individual and not as a group. I personally, and I tell this to my audience, I do not represent the Jewish people. I do not represent my parents. I represent Sami Steigmann.
Yeah.
Okay, if you like me, does not mean that every Jew is a nice person. You don't like me, does not mean that every Jew is not a nice person. So treat me as an individual.
Yeah.
But I am a very proud Jew. So, and I teach my audience, to be proud of their heritage. Okay, so to give an example, I don't think you have this in Canada, but here in the United States, people identify themselves by their heritage.
Yeah, we do that too, but to a lesser extent.
And what I'm saying is, when I lived in Romania, I adapted to the Romanian culture and I became Romanian.
Mm-hmm.
In Israel, I adapted to the Israeli culture and I became Israeli. I live here in the United States. I adapted to the American culture and I'm an American. But the difference is, when I'm saying Israeli American, Jewish American, Romanian American, Canadian American, that subliminally means that one group is inferior or superior to another one. When I say that we are Americans, I am an American, but a very proud Jew, that means that when I say American, that we are one nation. We are united.
Yeah.
Go to any country, go to England, go to France. Uh, Nobody says I am a Canadian French. Nobody says that I'm a Uganda French
Yeah.
or whatever it is. I'm French.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is something that here people it has been going on for too long, and this is what I say. So some young people agree, some people don't agree, but if we keep repeating it over and over and over, that will become the norm. So that's why I teach the young people, to say the right things,
Yeah.
okay, and be knowledgeable, okay, and use the proper words. Words are very important. Oh, look, all the genocides and all the Holocaust started with words and bullying.
Yeah.
Okay, so words are very important, what you use. And that's why I personally do not like the word anti-Semitism, because it can be interpreted as a different form of hate.
Yeah.
However, okay, Jew hatred is 4,000 years old. It's totally different from normal hate.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why I personally don't like the word anti-Semite. Okay, I like Jew hater.
Yeah. It
So,
makes it very clear.
right, and we have to be very specific with the words that we are using. And this is my goal, to teach the young people to use the proper words.
I love it. Well, Sami, we are going to wrap up here today, but I want to thank you again, as always, for spending this time with me and for sharing the
My
light that
pleasure.
is within you.
My pleasure, and I hope that your audience is learning something.